Before you enjoy this video, why not consider signing up for an account at PAX? Whether you're a player, agent, club or scout, PAX is for you. Create your free profile and connect with those in the industry today. For more information, please visit us at www.paxsports.com. That's www.paxsports.com. Now please go ahead and enjoy our video presentation. Alright guys, welcome to Next Gen Rugger. So today we're going to be looking at 5 prospects that have turned pro. And if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to click that subscribe button as well as bell notification. And as soon as new videos get released, you'll be the first to know. But before we get into that, in terms of the player highlights, I've got to discuss a couple of things with you guys because the messages have been non-stop on Instagram and the email account. The player highlights, I'm going to give it a slight break for a little bit. So basically what's happened is that some of the rights holders have got hold of me and indicated they're not really happy with me using the footage. I had a discussion with the guys yesterday. We talked about fair use and copyrights and all the rest of that. Look, everything is very much a grey area. So essentially, on the one hand, I could continue doing what I'm doing and hope for the best, and they can basically, try and institute legal proceedings against me. That's the one option. Another option is for me just to give it a break and see where the chips fall and see what sort of arrangement we can come up with the various parties in terms of moving forward. I think the thing that has to be understood is that it costs these guys a heck of a lot of money to put up these productions, and a lot of it's free to air. It's look, they're professionals. Don't get me wrong. They earn money from it, no doubt about it. But at the same time, the whole free to air aspect of it, and the fact that they've got staff to support and all the rest of it, it made me take a back seat instead of being quite aggressive about it. And also, I don't do this for money. It's not a business, so to speak, and I'm not earning money from it. I mean, there's a bit of revenue that comes in through YouTube, but not through those videos, because most of those videos are use copyrighted music and all the rest of it. But yeah, that's essentially the situation as it stands right now. Now, I have been in discussion with certain broadcasters, streaming services, and all the rest of that. If those come off, I'll probably end up working exclusively with certain parties in certain territories and promoting their content and all the rest of it. But we'll see where it falls. I'm hoping to resolve everything. I think it's school rugby ultimately, guys. It's grassroots school rugby. That's what it's about. And from my side, it was about giving the players as much sort of exposure as they could get. If you recall, there wasn't much in terms of player highlights on my channel before, but I've been going crazy with the player highlights, and that's because, frankly, it's hard for me to say no to the youngsters. If they ask me to do a reel for them, or sometimes more often than not, especially with the big name players, their mates send me a message, hey, you should do so and so. I know it's a guy basically telling his mate to send me a message. He doesn't want to ask directly, because he's probably a big name player or whatever. I do it basically because, like I said, it's COVID now, guys. These guys aren't going to play this year, likely. So the thing for me was ultimately get them some exposure, get their name out there. But I didn't realize that by doing that, you take in views away from other people, that actually do this for a living. It's a very complex situation. If it does turn ugly, I'll let you know. I'm not going to hold back any punches in terms of my community. I'll let you guys know 100%. I'm not going to mention any names of any companies as of yet. I don't think it's fair to drag anyone's name through the mud, especially because, I have been using their footage, even though I have been using a variety of footage. It's been a variety of footage that I've been using. There's one aggrieved party that's attached to another aggrieved party, and I'd like to obviously, ultimately, why do you want to fight with people if there's a potential to work together with people? So we'll see where the chips fall on this. I just had to explain to you guys because a lot of you have been messaging me non-stop, asking me what's happening, And that's the situation as it stands right now. So as soon as all of that's cleared up, we'll continue the player highlights. But no matter what happens, I'm going to slow down on it. I'm not going to be doing 3 to 4 videos a week forever. That's not happening, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And I'm still cold-hearted capitalist at heart. I do need to earn money if I'm going to be taking a lot of time out from something. But in terms of this year being unique in the COVID situation, I did as much as I could to help the guys out, and that's how the situation stands. So yeah, we'll see where everything lands, and like if the other aggrieved parties who are probably listening to this, decide to go, a bit harder at it, a bit more aggressively, I'll push back aggressively as well. If they want to basically talk things through and see if we can find a happy medium, I'm prepared to do that as well. But I don't respond well to threats. I do not respond well to threats at all. So we'll see where it stands. But anyway, enough blabbering on about that. You guys have got the message. I think the aggrieved parties have got the message. There's also been talk about photographers not being happy with some of the images that I used or whatever. So it's very simple. To anybody that's aggrieved with anything I do, you send me a message. You send me an email. I'm not a difficult person to get hold of, and you say, right, this is my property. I don't appreciate you using it without my consent, because I generally do this very quickly. I go into Google Images, I find something, and then I chuck it on, and that's it. So if you want me to put your name below the photo, or if you are a photographer and you want to get some exposure, get hold of me. I'll give you the exposure. We're sitting on an average now of the last year and a bit. We're sitting at over 100,000 views a month, guys. So instead of like trying to fight me and responding aggressively with things, try and work out how we can work together, because I can give you free coverage. I'm not going to charge for it. I'm not going to charge for any advertising. And the PAX thing is something that's a completely free service as well. So a lot of people are getting their knickers in a twist. And I do understand, because there's no content out there, so it's difficult to create content, when there are no games on and all the rest of it. So, maybe what I'm doing is I'm creating content and taking away from their ability to create content, and they need to pay salaries. So I do understand where they're coming from, but I'd like it to be an amicable situation, and ultimately, let bygones be bygones, and focus on what's important, and that's helping out the youngsters. So let's go into it. But obviously, first again, I have to do a shameless plug. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, nextgenrugger.com/newsletter. If you're looking for help on a rugby CV, nextgenrugger.com/rugby CV. So today we're going to go through the 5 prospects who have signed pro contracts. Let's get straight into that. So first we're going to be looking at old Jordan Venter. He's at Porus, a centre, and he's gone pro by signing for Edinburgh. Jordan's a fantastic young guy. I've had a lot of time to chat to him on Instagram and all the rest of that type of stuff. Such a tragedy he won't be able to show his skill this year. Very talented player. I definitely think Jordan can go all the way to the top, and I think he can become a global rugby superstar, because he knows how to market himself on Instagram. He's humble, he's well-spoken, he's overcome adversity. There's a lot of life lessons that he's learned from an early age, and I think it's going to put him in good stead for the future. So, but in terms of his pathway, you got Scott King and Matt Curry, the current academy centres at Edinburgh. They're both Scotland under 18 centres, but no disrespect, I don't think there should be an issue for Jordan to cement his place in the academy side. In terms of the senior squad, they're 2 international centres, but I really think that Jordan will be fast-tracked. I really do think. I think he'll easily be playing, at 20, 21 years old, I think he could very easily be playing, Pro 14 at the very least. I think he made a fantastic choice in going to Edinburgh. What happens with a lot of the youngsters going to France, and I've spoken about it before, it's a tough transition, guys. It's a very tough transition to go to France. But, I'm looking to head to Spain myself, and even going over there for a couple of months to, scout locations and all the rest of it. It still was a culture shock, and the Spanish are a lot friendlier than the French. And the thing with going to Scotland, England, Australia, Ireland, places like this, at least there's some familiarity in terms of culture, lifestyle, and language. The most important thing is language. So he's going to be going to an academy that's got great coaches, great facilities, and I think it'll definitely fast track him. And I'm 100% sure that he's got it in him to become a Scotland international, and definitely looking forward to see how he progresses. Next player up, we have Nico Steyn from the Glenwood. A little scrummy. He's turned pro by signing for the Lions. And Nico, it's such a tragedy that we didn't get to see him play this year. I remember the first time I saw him play was at the World Schools Festival last year. And I just thought to myself, hell, this is a special player. He's a very, very special player. He's got everything to succeed in the game. He's got very, very high rugby IQ, crisp passing. He sees things before anyone else does. He's even a decent goal kicker. I'm not going to say he's the best goal kicker, but he's a good goal kicker. I just think he's a fantastic young talent and another person that I've had some time to talk to, and humble, good guy as well. And if you take a look at his pathway, I mean, I don't see much competition for a player of this quality at under 20 level. So I'd definitely think there could be some fast tracking here. Now, in the senior ranks, you've got Ross Crinier, Dylan Smith, and Andre Warner. And then in terms of the closest young gun, I'd say Morne van den Berg, but I think he's 23 years old now. But no doubt he's going to be fast tracked. And I think it's a brilliant move by Nico and his agents to choose the Lions. Now, he was educated at Glenwood. You would expect a natural, transition to be going from, playing age group rugby for the Sharks to actually, maybe going into the Sharks Academy and playing over there. But the thing is, you got Nohamba and you got Hendricks over there, and that's a difficult, a difficult couple of guys to get past. So I think definitely Nico's made the right choice by going to the Lions, because there's a very, very clear pathway for him to be fast-tracked there. And he could be playing Super Rugby 21, 22 years old, especially when you take a look at the age of the guys in front of him. I think he's definitely going to go there, and he's going to impress a hell of a lot. He's got a massive future in the game. I really do believe that. Next up, Curwin Gertse, pole gym player. He can play either on the wing or centre. Personally, I think he's more of a wing. He signed for the Sharks. Just an absolutely special athlete. I mean, if you guys haven't watched the pole gym, pole boys derby from last year, do yourself a favor, watch it and see how this guy performed. Absolutely lethal player. Now, in terms of his pathway, it's somewhat competitive at the Sharks in the junior backline department, but he's just another level of athlete, guys. The senior ranks, there's definitely stiff competition. He's going to have to work hard, but he's a special prospect. He's a very special prospect, and I think any union that he went to would have been lucky to have him. And I think he'll break through no matter what. He's just got absolutely everything that is required to become a proper world class wing. I didn't want to use world class at first, especially at when he's played at this age, but I do see it in him. I do see it in him to become a world class wing one day. I think he'll fill out quite nicely, get some gym work in over there, and he's got a massive future in the game. I can't wait to see how he develops. Next up, Heiko Pohlmann. He's at Monument at the moment, moving to the Lions. He's a prop. I get upset almost when I see these oaks. 2020 has really been a rotten year, hasn't it? I mean, Heiko was absolutely amazing last year, and the transition from grade 11 to grade 12, the guys up at even a higher level. You think about Jan-Hendrik Wessels. He was a very special talent at grade 11. You could see he was a good player. He didn't really stand out that much. Then grade 12, just 1 year, can make a massive difference. And then he's like, the best player in the country, basically. And I think Heiko would have definitely made his mark in a big way this year, on the school scene. Very, very special player, very powerful guy. And, he's got the attitude, he's got the work rate, he's got the discipline. Everything's there to go far. In terms of his pathway, under 20 level, there's Banele Mtajane. He's also a prospect that can go all the way. There's a lot of quality in the senior ranks, but there are also some aging players. Now, Heiko's a beast here. Like I said, he's one of the best young props in the country. And I really would expect him playing Super Rugby, almost certainly in his early 20s. I think he will be fast-tracked. He's just too much of a talent not to go far. and definitely can't wait to see how he develops. Very, very much looking forward to seeing how far Heiko can go. Finally, we got Renzo du Plessis, Ben Foster, flanker, moving to the Sharks. We'll get straight into the pathway. So, he's an exceptional athlete, guys. I mean, such a great athlete. He really stood out despite being at a smaller school. The only thing I have to ask myself, though, is like, as a young loose forward, is it right for him to move to the Sharks? I mean, look at that quality. I mean, you got Evan Ruiz, Pepsi Budeleze, Silimpilo Gumede, Jared Taylor. They're all under 20 level. James Fent is 23. I mean, you're looking at a lot of quality over there. I'm not saying Renzo can't compete with them. I'm just saying that is a lot of quality to have in front of you. But the best athletes come through no matter what happens. Now, the thing is that, when I look at it, you take a look at Dylan Richardson, right? Played loose forward most of his rugby career. Played SS Schools as a loose forward, played S under 20 as a loose forward, and the Sharks have transitioned him to a hooker. And I think it was a great decision because I think he can do very well over there. I'm thinking, and I could be wrong here, I'm thinking that maybe they might be looking at Renzo as an inside centre. Now, go back and watch his footage, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He is such an athlete. He's got the pace to play in the back line. He's exceptionally fast. He's got the power. I think he could, he's just got all the weapons. His offloading is completely out of this world. His reading of the game and his vision is fantastic. He could play virtually any position on the field at school level, and I think you would stand out because he's just that level of athlete. So it doesn't make sense to me that the Sharks would keep him as a loose forward. I think they are going to make a positional change. And if they do, I do think that Renzo could go extremely far. I still think he'll go far no matter what. If he stays as a loose forward, he will go far. He's like I said, he's a crazy good athlete. The best athletes want to compete with the best and prove themselves. So there's no reason why he couldn't displace any of those players. In his career, there's no reason why he couldn't. If he puts in the work, he's got the talent. There's no reason why he couldn't. I'm just saying it's going to be extremely difficult. It's going to be more difficult at the Sharks than it would be at any other union to push through, especially with that quality of loose forward. So that's why I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe there might be a positional change here. But if there's not, I still think Renzo will go far. Humble guy, comes from a good family. The whole Ben Foster community is a very close community, and he's well respected there, he's well liked there because he's humble, he's not arrogant, he doesn't think he's above everyone, and he's willing to do the work. And he's going to be an exciting prospect no matter what. But I'm very interested to see if I'm right or wrong about the positional change. I think they're very interesting times ahead, and Renzo's going to be someone that we're going to be watching very, very carefully over the next couple of years because, when you score a try from behind your own try line at Craven Week, no one's going to forget you very quickly. Okay, guys, so that's the first lot. So just in terms of the future videos, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go through 5 prospects that have turned pro once a week, if possible. Then toward the end of the year, we'll do a complete list by unions. In other words, what I'll do is I'll list the Bulls and I'll say all the players they've signed, list the Cheetahs, all the players they've signed. And then what we'll do is we'll look at how the various under 20 teams could potentially line up next year. And don't forget to vote in our unofficial Craven Week Fantasy Drafts. The details in the community tab and on Instagram. And fear not regarding the player highlights videos and footage and all the rest of that stuff, guys. Fear not. I am making plans. I'm making moves. I'm going to be making some big announcements soon of some interesting partnerships. I'm very excited. I almost want to let all the news out right now. But I'm in very advanced talks with some people that they share the same values as me in terms of school rugby and in terms of where they'd like to see it go and all the rest of it. And some of these guys are huge and they've got huge plans. I think some of them could dominate the space in the future, and some of them are already dominating the space. So there are definitely exciting times ahead, and we're going to be starting to look at more than just the South African market. Let's just say it like that. Some strategic partnerships will be put into place where we're going to make sure that the world of school rugby gets smaller, and youngsters from all over the world, from Fiji, from New Zealand, from Australia, from the UK, from Ireland, everyone can get exposure, and we can follow and track their progress as professional rugby players now and in the future. Thanks a lot for taking the time to watch, guys. Much appreciated. As usual, don't forget to click the subscribe button as well as bell notification. And have a fantastic week further. Look forward to getting in touch with you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.